Welcome to Talk Oxford, the show which gets you talking. I'm Eve Ahmed. Today on Talk Oxford we ask, are hospitals right to ban smoking outdoors in their grounds? Why do cool kids become troubled adults? And we have a special roundup of all the best arts events taking place in Oxfordshire this summer. Joining me live in the studio are events organiser Neil Anderson and motivational hypnotherapist Nicola Menage. So, start with you, Nicola, first. Hi, you've been here with us before.
I have, yeah.
What have you been up to since I saw you last?
Yeah, busy actually, busy with clients and things, and I'm just going to share with you really what's coming up seasonally. Usually clients come in clusters. I've got a nice little batch of people that are terrified of flying. They leave it right to the last minute and book their holiday and then realise actually, whoa. So that's quite interesting. So we just do some work on reframing the fear, identifying where it comes from.
Through hypnotherapy?
Through hypnotherapy.
Oh, okay.
Flying actually affects, I think it's something like 1 in 10 people.
Fear of flying?
Fear of flying.
That's a lot,
It is a lot,
isn't it?
and I think particularly, you know, flying these days isn't such a breeze. There's all the security at airports since the 24/7 thing. 24, was it 24?
9/11.
I'm just going into my fear of flying.
Yes.
I'm thinking you're the person
There's
I
all
want to
the
sit beside.
anxiety, about getting to the airport, all the security stuff. So there's a heightened kind of element about flying anyway now.
That there didn't used to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the other thing that comes up is one of my specialisms is managing people's stress. So it's about, do you take the phone on holiday with you? Do you take your laptop? Quite a lot of clients carry on working whilst they're on holiday, and then that affects family relationships. So it's that kind of thing. Really.
Is it a bit like Christmas when we feel we have to be happy?
Absolutely. And I think we was just saying before the programme started that actually divorce, goes through the roof after the summer and after Christmas. So that's when lawyers and solicitors are very busy.
Right.
So be warned, everyone. Communicate with your family.
Yes. I don't know how we're going to make a graceful leap to you from that, Neil, but you've been about the fear of flying, maybe, because you were saying that you
Yes, indeed. Well, I was just going to say that Nicola would be the ideal person to have on a short or long haul flight sitting next to you if you do have qualms about flying, and I have them in spades.
Oh my gosh.
Which is why I don't fly at all anymore.
So that's how you deal with the fear, you just don't do it?
Yes, exactly. That seems to be a good way of
yeah, you must
coping.
have understanding family and partner.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
Enormously.
And you've been on the show as well before, so what have you been up to since I saw you last?
So
busy being at events?
Stepping down a gear, actually.
Oh.
Yes. Whereas before we used to organise a lot of events as well as attending other people's.
This is Oxford?
This is Oxford Arts Group.
Right.
Which is a big social group for arts and culture lovers. So we've knocked the organisational side on the head for a bit, but there are still lots of arts events in Oxford to go and see. So we get together, big group of us, whoever's interested in a particular event, we meet up somewhere in a cafe, pub, and then go and see some of the events I'm probably going to talk about a bit later.
Okay. Why have you knocked the organising on the head? Because there were so many events taking place anyway in Oxford.
Yes, if you're basically organising events full-time as well as trying to organise other people going to see other people's events, and you have a full-time job, life gets stressful. Not quite as stressful as flying, but it's close.
It's not the stress that needs counselling, hypnotherapy, manageable.
Exactly. So we're sort of taking a step back for a few months, see how it goes.
Yeah.
And then if the batteries are suitably recharged, then I'd also like other members in the group to get more involved. I'm encouraging them to take on the responsibility of organising events themselves a little bit, which would be nice.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
What, do you think groups like this are useful, Nicola, where people have somebody to go to something with?
I think so, because the last time I was on the programme, we talked about happiness and connectedness came up. And I think it's this thing about feeling you belong to something. And when there's familiar faces or there's a shared interest, it's all about helping you feel connected to something, isn't it? I think it's great.
Yeah. And is it a website? What is it? Is it a sort of physical entity?
It's a virtual entity, but also we meet up in real life in 3 dimensions.
Yes.
But no, if you want to find out about the group, just put it on a Google, Yahoo, search engine of your choice, Oxford Arts Group, and we'll be right at the top of the listings.
Yeah.
Click on there, you'll see all the events that we're going to in a particular month. Join the group, takes about 5 seconds, just put your name and a password in,
Yeah.
and come along to events for about a month, and then there's a subscription if you want to stick around.
Okay.
But you get a chance to try things out for a month or so,
Okay.
first of all.
And are you a virtual entity, Nicola, or do you have a physical space? And where, if so, where is it?
I have a physical space. I work from my practice in Chipping Norton, so very easy to find, right along by the theatre. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if I remember asking you last time, but is there such a thing as the Chipping Norton set? And would they hang out in your consulting rooms if they do exist, these mythical beasts?
They haven't yet, but you never know. Watch this space. There is the Chipping Norton set.
Is there?
Yeah, there is.
Are they sort of identifiable by their Range Rovers or something?
They are, and you hear lots of people saying, "Oh, David Cameron's been in Jaff and Neil or wherever."
What's
and,
Jaff and Neil?
Oh, it's a fabulous bookshop. Fabulous
okay.
bookshop
Okay.
with a cafe. It's like the
Right.
place to hang out in Chipping Norton. Yeah, the place to be
We'll
seen.
have to get them on.
Yeah.
Every town should have one, and Oxford does, which is the Albion Beatnik. So
Yes.
that's definitely a good place to visit.
Yes, but that has the Oxford set, not the Chipping Norton set.
I'm not sure what sort of set it has in it really, but it's got a nice tea set. And,
Yeah, that's good enough for us.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we move on to talk about our first topic for on the agenda, which is smoking. Now, neither
Yes.
of you look like smokers to me. You
Yes.
both have glowing complexions and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. But the NHS bans smokers from the inside of hospitals, which is reasonable. But in Oxfordshire, smokers are also banned from the hospital grounds outside. But does it make sense, or does banning an activity stop it or move it to another area? And I remember you saying before, Nicola, that smoking is quite a big issue for some of your clients. So does banning something, does it help them, or do they just, go off and do it somewhere else?
They will go off. I mean, if they're desperate, they'll go off and do it somewhere else. But I think it's, is it Charing Cross, that you quite often see these people hanging outside the hospital, right outside, with, they're all wired up to their drip and everything. And you just think, it just doesn't sort of add up.
No.
So I would like to see more help and assistance to help people, because it's very stressful going into hospital. So you can't just say, all right, you just got to quit smoking, because that's quite likely to increase people's stress levels
Yes.
anyway. So if there was some kind of nice programme to help people feel relaxed, it'd be a
Yes.
great opportunity to help wean people off smoking. But I am a little bit anti-banning everything. It all
Yes.
just seems like, I think I've said this before.
Yes, yeah, because there is somebody, the Association for Improvements in the Maternity Services, whose president is an Oxford resident, says she doesn't think banning it outside is good because it's Big Brother gone too far, and a lot of women feel very stressed when they're pregnant. So it's just really unfair. I don't know. It's a difficult one. What do you think, Neil?
Well, in practical terms, I was reading somebody suggested covered areas, some way away from hotel, from sorry, that's tomorrow, from the hospital, but still within the grounds. So there's no real danger of any smoke drifting in through any windows that have been left open,
Yeah.
which seems a reasonable compromise. I think at the JR they've had problems with people just going into adjacent residential streets and making
Yes.
one end of that street a lot smokier than the other.
Yes.
And people who want their windows open in summer, who happen to be at the unfortunate end of the street,
Yeah.
it's just displacement.
But I think sort of part of me does think, though, that why can't people smoke outside? I mean, you're not going to get passive smoking illness from a person smoking outside. Is it? It's
Depends
just like
how
everybody's
close,
jumped
yeah.
on the bandwagon now. Oh, smoking is like the worst thing in the world. But what harm does it really do if it's outside?
Are you a smoker, Eve?
I'm an ex-smoker.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't smoke a lot, about probably 4 or 5, social smoker.
Mm.
But I just think
Yes,
there's
if
so
it
much
has no
banning
impact.
of things going on, for the sake of it, really.
Yes.
I'm with you on this one, Nicola.
Well, I was like you, I was a social smoker, like 4
right.
or 5. But,
Yeah.
really, if we are promoting health,
Yeah.
it's setting an example,
Yeah, I
isn't
guess.
it? And I think if people could just be gently kind of educated and helped along, being in hospital and being sick is a fabulous opportunity. And funnily enough, like say, pregnant smokers, well, it's a great opportunity because you've got a really good incentive not to smoke,
Yeah.
because the odds are on you're going to have a healthier baby. So, you know, all of those reasons are really good to encourage people not to be a smoker. I used to work for the NHS, and we weren't allowed, or the staff weren't allowed to smoke on NHS premises, so there'd be clusters all round the block. And it looked awful. It looked like a bunch of refugees, and there'd be all these kind of fag ends in the street, you know, and that again didn't seem a very good solution either.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. And this leads us on to the next one, because smoking, obviously, as we know, damages unborn babies. But it now turns out, apparently, Neil, that being the cool kid can land you in difficulties later on in life. That's according to a new study, that people who act cool at school by smoking, drinking, and who were very popular, they then, when they were adults, they tended to turn to drug abuse and become involved in crime. So cool teens, characters like James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause, they actually lose out, which quite surprised me, because I thought, oh, cool kids would grow up to be, you know, popular people and natural leaders, and people would gravitate towards them as adults.
It does sound
Were
a
you a
bit
cool kid?
sweeping. Was I a cool kid? No. In a word. I'm not sure what kind of kid I was, but I was one of the kind of kid that would race around pretending to be an aeroplane and making a lot of noise. And if you put a football in front of me, I'd kick it and run around after it as well. So I don't think that would suit most people's definition of cool. But who cares?
Okay.
I've turned out okay.
And we're going to find out if Nicola turned out okay. Well, obviously you've turned out okay.
I was
Cool or not,
desperate.
because we have now got the break coming up.
Okay.
So we're going to go to that, and then we'll come back to you after, Nicola, to find out what you think. But we'd love to hear what you think. So please do get in touch with us via Twitter and via Facebook. It's very important that we hear your opinions. We'll be back in a couple of minutes, so stick around.